Some time ago, I recorded this video about how to install and how to use Lichfield Studio for training Gaussian splats. And at the time that I recorded this video, and it was only like a couple of months ago, you had to install like dependencies and you have to compile the thing, and it was a little bit tricky for most people. But now I just discovered that there is a new version that it just works out of the box. You just need to download it and install it, and you don't need to care about dependencies anymore, which is great. So I want to give it another try, and I also want to test the masks features, because this is something that I want to use quite a lot for my projects. So I just thought that I would record another video and showcasing the process. This is the first time that I'm using it, so I don't really know what to expect. So hopefully everything works just fine. Kind of the same thing that I did with this video. This video was also like my very first test. I haven't used it before I recorded this video, and everything worked pretty smoothly. So hopefully it is the same this time. So if you go to lichtfeld.io, this is the official website, and now to install it, it is as simple as just click on download. It will take you to the GitHub repo, and well, as you can see, this is the very latest version. This is a nightly build, and if you go to assets here, you can download it for different releases basically. So I think I just downloaded this one here 9 hours ago, so obviously this is a very fresh build, so I guess it would be not very stable. Actually, you can read it here, right? This is an unstable development build. For stable releases, go there. But I just want to try the very latest version and see what happens. So you click here, you're going to get a zip file, and once you get that zip file, I have it here. This is what you get, right? You unzip the file and you're gonna get this. Then you go to bin, and here you should have the program itself. So you double click here and you're gonna open Lichfield Studio. So let's give it a go. So to start with, I have this data set here, and these are my original images. Obviously you can use real world data, you can use synthetic data as well, but I'm gonna try this with real world data that I captured the other day. So if I go here to images, I can show you the images that I have. So this is like a small cabin in the mountains, and I just shot this with my iPhone actually, and it was snowing a little bit, so there are some artifacts in the photos. But anyway, what I have is essentially just one turntable around this cabin. Or actually, I think I have a couple of different turntables, because from this position I wasn't able to cover the roof completely. So I think I did another one where I extended my arms as much as possible, trying to cover the roof. But again, I wasn't able to cover it 100% again, because I didn't have a selfie stick or a ladder or a drone for that matter. So, well, it's pretty decent coverage, but it's not amazing. And by the way, this is an iPhone. I don't remember the model, because it's my secondary phone that I don't really use that much. So it's not one of the latest iPhones. This is like maybe 5 years old or even more. But anyway, these are the photos that I have. I think I have 183 photos in total. Okay, and the only thing to consider here is that these are PNGs, and if you use an iPhone, most likely you're gonna have HEIC photos, which is this format that Apple uses on their devices, which is obviously not the best, because it can be good for some things, but it doesn't have like great compatibility with other systems. So the first thing you need to do is obviously to convert these images to something like PNG. So if that is the case, I mean, you can do it in multiple ways, I guess. I guess if you own a Mac computer, it's easier because it's a native format. Otherwise, the best way of doing it, in my opinion, is with ImageMagick, right? So if you download ImageMagick, which is a free open source software that you can run from the command line, you just need to go here, download the latest version, install it. Is going to automatically, it adds the installation, it adds path environment variables, so you don't really need to worry too much about it. And once it's installed, from this folder you can run a command to convert the images automatically. So if you just type magic mogorify, then you use the flag format PNG or JPEG or whatever you want, and then you say something like star.HEIC. If you just do this and press enter, that didn't work, and that is because I made a typo here, right? Magic, just like that. And this will start converting those to PNG. And as you can see, it has already converted 1, 2, etc. So I'm gonna stop this because I already converted it beforehand. So let me get rid of those. And that's what I have here, this images folder. Okay, cool. And actually, I'm gonna get rid of that folder as well. So we only have the images folder. Okay, cool. So what we need in order to train Gaussian splats with Lichtfeld Studio is the original images, which is this, and then we need the Colmap data, right? And the Colmap data, we can just call it whatever. I mean, we can call it Colmap or whatever, but I'm gonna call it sparse because that's usually the naming convention that Colmap uses. So, you know, anyone familiar with Colmap and Gaussian splatting, when they see a folder that is called sparse, they know that inside of that folder we're gonna have the sparse point cloud and the camera registration. Okay, and obviously this is something that we need to generate beforehand, right? Before trying to train a Gaussian splatting in Lichfield Studio, we need to generate the Colmap data. There are different ways of generating Colmap data. We can generate it with Colmap itself, but it takes a long time, especially if you have a big data set. In my case, again, I only have 183 images, so it's not that big. But anyway, there are other software, especially photogrammetry software, like Reality Scan or Agisoft Metashape, that are way faster than Colmap to generate this kind of information. So in my case, I'm gonna use Reality Scan. On top of that, I also want to generate masks. Even though, you know, what I have here is just this cabin, and I don't really see much of the environment really because I was focusing on this cabin. I don't want to generate a Gaussian splat that contains the background. In this case, I only care about the cabin itself. So I want to use masks to reduce the training times because I'm going to be generating a Gaussian splat that is smaller, but also because in this particular case, I don't care about the environment. Okay, so I want to generate masks as well. So I'm going to create a new folder here that I'm going to call masks. Okay, great. So I'm going to go to Reality Scan. I'm going to launch the latest version. Okay, here we have it. And let me just select maybe this one, and I'm going to set this one to 2D. Okay, so I'm going to get my images, drag and drop over here. Okay, 183 images, all good. And I'm going to go to alignment, align images, and this should take very little time, right? And this is again what I'm using reality capture instead of Colmap because it's way faster. Even if the data set is as small as 183 images, I wouldn't recommend you to use Colmap for data sets bigger than 500 or 600 images, because in my experience that takes forever, while in reality capture it might take only a few minutes. So for this particular data set, again, 183 images, and I don't know the resolution of these images actually. Let me double check here. Okay, so it's like 4,000 pixels by 3,000 pixels, so not that huge, but kind of big. Again, the quality is not great due to lighting conditions, the device itself, and you know, a little bit of snowflakes once in a while. But let's see what we can do with this type of footage. Obviously, you're never gonna get a really good Gaussian splatting if your footage is not good, but this is not terrible either. So let's see what we can generate. And again, we're gonna miss some parts on the roof, but that might be okay. Okay, so this is almost done. I'm not speeding up the video or anything. I just want to show you in real time how long this thing takes. But yeah, hopefully not that much. Okay, it's done. All right, great. So this is done, and as you can see, we got 183 images aligned. So, and that is because you can see my shooting pattern here, right? Like I've done like almost perfect turntables, and in this area over here I try to do like a different height. This is just my arms extended, so I don't think it helped that much, but maybe to get a little bit more coverage. Okay, cool. So that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna get this bounding box and I'm gonna align it a little bit better with my house or my little cabin. Okay, it's fully covered, so that's all good. All right, so we're ready to export the Colmap data. So I'm gonna go to Workflow, Export, Colmap, and in here, well, we have the images folder, mask, and sparse. So let's go to sparse. Let's give it a name like cabin. Save. And here we need to make sure of a couple of things. So first of all, export location. That's correct, right? So this is the location where we are exporting the sparse point cloud and the camera registration. Everything else should be just as default. We don't really need to do anything here. This is just for undistorting the images. Lichtfeld Studio expects undistorted images, so we need to export the images as undistorted images, essentially. So I'm going to export them with the same file format as the original images, PNG. And now here we need to select a folder where we want to export them. So I'm just going to add a new folder, and I'm going to call it images undistorted. Okay, select, okay, and this should be exporting everything. It went so fast, so I think something didn't work. Yeah, it only exported one image, and the sparse point cloud is fine. So what happened in there? It exported only one image, so that's bad. Okay, let's try again. I'm gonna export it. Yes, PNG, original file name. Okay. Okay, and that is not working. Okay, it's only exporting the image that I have selected. Why is that? That shouldn't be the case. I'm going to select all of them and try again. Maybe that's why, but this shouldn't be the case. Anyway, cabin, yes, okay. And now it seems that it's doing it properly, I hope. Yep, now it's working. I believe so. So let's go here. Again, sparse, we have all the text files here, and image undistorted, we have the 183 images. Okay, we're good. So these two folders is really all we need to take into Lichfield. But again, I want to generate masks. So I'm going to generate a mask just for the cabin. And in order to do so, we need to generate a quick mesh preview. So I'm going to go to mesh and color, and I'm going to choose preview detail, so it's super fast. And we're not that concerned about the masks, I guess. I guess it depends on the subject. But let's see. Okay, so this is the mesh that it has generated. Okay, and as you can see, it's not a great mesh. First of all, because the footage is not amazing, but most importantly, because we generated a preview reconstruction. But this is good because we only want to use this geometry to generate masks. Okay, so in order to export the masks, let's go to workflow, export, and let's select PNG and EXR. And as you can see down here, it says export depth, normal, and mask images. We only care about masks, so I'm gonna click there. I'm gonna go to masks, select folder, and let's say in here we want to use the original file name. Okay, that's pretty much the only thing we need to do. We don't want to export camera normals, so set this one to no. And I believe that's everything that we need, right? We don't want to export camera depth, so this one should be set to no. By default, I believe this one is set to yes, but because obviously I've used this all the time, I have it by default to not export the camera depth. That's everything really. So click on OK, and this should be exporting masks, right? So if we go to masks, it is empty for now, so it hasn't exported anything just yet. So let's wait a little bit. Okay, now it's starting to populate. All right, and as you can see, it keeps the original name, which is this, and then it adds mask.png, and these are the masks for every photo based on the preview mesh that we generated. Okay, I'm not sure if the naming convention is going to work. We're gonna find out that soon, because I know Lichfield Studio expects some kind of naming convention, and I believe this one is supported, but let's see. All right, so now let's open Lichfield Studio. So let's go here, let's go to bin, and let's launch Lichfield Studio. Okay, this is the very first time opening it. So, okay, language, English, that's fine. And now, let's see if this works. I don't know if we need to keep everything in the same folder or not, so let's test it. But we're gonna need images undistorted, masks, and sparse. Let's drag and drop all of that here. Okay. Output directory. This is an output directory that we need, so I'm gonna actually do it here, maybe like output. Okay, that will be my output. Click on load, and directory images not found. Okay, so we need to hard code this naming convention. Okay, cool. So we're finding things. So let's do this thing. I'm gonna create a new folder. I'm gonna call it in Lichtfeld, like that, and I'm gonna take images undistorted, mask, and sparse, and I'm gonna copy that inside, so we keep things tidy and organized. And it complained because this one, it wasn't called images. So let's do it like that and see what happens. Drag and drop over here. Okay, load. And now it seems to be loading the data set, because this is not responsive anymore. So it is doing something, I hope. Okay, I'm gonna wait. Hopefully this didn't crash. Remember that I'm using a nightly version. Okay, so we have something. Cool. And what I can see here is my sparse point cloud, which looks pretty good. My camera registration, okay, so the Colmap files worked just fine. Let's see the masks. So here we have cameras training. Okay, and I believe this red icon means that it has detected the masks. So if I double click on the image, I believe there was an overlay, which is M. There you go. So if you press M for mask, you can overlay the mask on top of the image. Okay. And you can just move around this data set, press M again. Okay, yeah, and this is working. As you can see, the masks are not extremely precise. And again, that is because we generated the mesh in preview mode. But this should be good enough, right, for what we're doing. Okay, great. So this seems to be working. So that's great. Everything works. Okay, great. So now we can just go to training. Here we can use the algorithm that is going to be used. I'm going to use MCMC. The iteration is going to be 3000 steps to begin with, and the max Gaussian splat is going to be like 1 million. That's all good. Spherical harmonic degree should be 3. This is all good. Mask mode, though, as you can see now, you have this available. I think this is another way of checking or double checking that the masks are working, because otherwise this should be disabled. Okay, so you can choose segment, ignore, or alpha consistent. So I believe alpha consistent is going to use the mask as strictly as possible, meaning that whatever is inside of the white area of the mask is going to be used for training this Gaussian splat, and whatever is black is gonna be ignored. Ignore is kind of like the opposite, right? Like whatever is white in your masks is gonna be ignored. And segment is the same as alpha consistent, but I think it's going to feather the mask, right? So it's not gonna use the mask strictly as 0 and 1. It's going to blur it a little bit or feather it a little bit. So I'm gonna choose segment here, and you can also invert the mask if you want and place with opacity. But I don't think I want to do any of that. All right, so I think I'm just gonna click on start training, and this should start training my Gaussian splat. And here you can see the steps. So it is running currently at 0 iterations, or 1 right now. 1 out of 30,000 steps. So I'm gonna keep the video. Oops. Okay. So we already found an issue. I wasn't expecting this, to be honest. And obviously I have no clue what this is. Training step failed, incompatibility shapes for broadcasting. I have no idea. I never seen that before. Probably because I'm using a nightly version. Who knows? And yeah, it seems like Lichtfeld Studio has crashed. Okay, maybe one thing is because obviously this is a very GPU heavy operation. So what I'm gonna try to do is run it again, but I'm gonna stop my OBS recording, okay? Because I don't have a dedicated card for capturing. So I'm gonna run it again, but I'm gonna stop. Okay, I'm gonna try again. I have the feeling that what was making Lichfield to crash was the fact that some of the images that are exported and distorted from reality capture, the resolution wasn't matching with some of the masks, and that doesn't work, right? They have to be exactly the same resolution. And here you can see they are not the same resolution, even though they have been exported with the same distortion settings. So I think that is the issue. So I'm gonna try again and see what happens, but I believe that's gonna make it crash again. Okay, so again, training, because by the way, I tried training these without the masks and then it worked just fine. So it is definitely something related with masks. So I'm gonna try again, and as you can see, it is working. And now it seems to be working. Okay, interesting. Hopefully this doesn't crash. And I believe the reason that it crashed before, it's because remember that I was trying to export the mask. Oh no, it has crashed. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's definitely that, because it says here, like, you know, this resolution by that resolution compared with this resolution but that resolution are not the same. So I think that is what's making this crash, and it has crashed completely, right? So yeah, how do we fix that? I have no clue, because reality capture, it is, well, when we export when we export PNG and EXR, again in masks, we are using the same undistortion settings. Yes, inner region, fit. Yeah, we are using exactly the same settings than when we export Colmap, right? When we did this, we're using the same. Yes, in the region fit one. So I have no idea. So as a test, I'm gonna try without undistorting the images. So no, I'm not gonna undistort the images. Let me just go here, images. I'm gonna get rid of everything, and obviously it is going to complain, as it always does. Geez, this is terrible. Anyway, I'm gonna try to fix it. Okay, so images 2, let's do that. So here we are gonna select images 2, and this one is gonna be exported in sparse. Get rid of all these. Okay, great. And no undistorted images. Okay, good. Let's do that. So we get that, all good, and we should be getting these images, and now these are not undistorted. These should be distorted. Is this gonna work with Lichfield? Who knows? It does work with other solutions, so let's see. But now let's try to export as well the masks. So masks, is that folder empty? No. Let's see if I can delete these images. Yes, I can. Great. All right. Export masks, yes. Camera depth, no. Okay, great. Let's export it again. And now these masks are not undistorted either. Okay, let me create another folder here. Into like that, and we're gonna take images 2, masks and sparse. Okay, and we need to rename this one to images. Is this going to work? First of all, let me kill Lichtfeld Studio that was completely frozen. Open it again. Masks are exported. Okay, let's hope for the best. So let's take this folder over here. Okay, load. Dataset loads correctly. Masks are here. Let's double check resolutions here. So these images are 4032 by 3024. And these matches, right, which wasn't the case before. So the difference now is that images are not undistorted. That shouldn't be an issue, right? Well, let's see. Let's use segment as a mask mode, start training, and see what happens. Nope, distorted images detected. So yeah, it definitely requires undistorted images. Okay, terrible. One last try. So let's see. Can I get rid of these? Yes. Can I get rid of these? No. There is always something. Jesus Christ. Alright. Let's do a third one. In 3. Like that. Let's create a new folder. Images. Let's create a new folder. Masks. And let's create a new folder. Sparse. Right. Final try. I'm not doing this again. So export Colmap. Let's go in there, select sparse, and I'm gonna call it cabin. Okay. Export location, that's correct. And distort images. Yes. Let's see if we can do something here. Fit inner region. Yes. Resolution fit, downscale 1, and distort principal point. Okay. Image cutout 1, max count. Okay, let's try this, because when max count of pixels is set to 0, that means that it's not really downscaling anything, but you can set this to some kind of resolution. So let's try 2 million. So we're gonna force it to that. I hope this is not the case, because I would be very mad if this is the case, because that means that I cannot use full resolution of my images. Okay, well, anyway, let's try to force it to 2 million. Press OK. And sparse, this is being exported. Okay, and images. Where are the images? I guess I use a wrong directory. So let's try again. Oh, my bad. No, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, my bad. I selected a wrong directory. So let's take it from there, right? This is where I exported it, images 2. So let's go here and paste it there. Okay, so now we have the images. And we have the sparse information. Let's try the masks. Export PNG masks, and let's use the same settings. Okay, so export masks, yes. Camera depth, no. Meter, that's all good. Original file name. And distortion settings, this is the important part, right? And distort images, yes. Inner region, yes. Fit 1, yes. Okay, so this is exactly the same as we had before. And now we have we're forcing this to 2000 or 2 million. Okay, and see what we get. So I'm going to open one of these images, and I'm going to open one of the masks. Okay, and now we can see the resolution matches. So this is a good sign, but obviously we are downscaling our images, which is not good. I wish we could force it to 4,000 instead of, or sorry, 4 million instead of 2 million. But I don't like that I have to, you know, set some kind of downscale. Okay, anyway, let's see if this works. So I'm gonna go back to Lichfield Studio. Let's try again. Dataset seems correct, right? Masks seem correct. Okay. Training, mask mode, segment, start training, and let's see what happens now. Okay, now it seems that it's working. Okay, cool. So we fixed the issue. And oh, if you don't notice that, because this was very fast, I'm gonna stop it. Okay, let me do it again. Because hopefully you notice that. You notice that when we import the dataset, we can see the entire sparse point cloud, right? You can see it all the way till the end over there, right? Those are all residual points. But because we're using the masks, again, right, when we use the masks here as a segment in this case, you're gonna see that very soon after a few steps, the point cloud kind of disappears and the Gaussian splat training focuses only on this subject, right? You can see now, like it is disappearing the rest of the Gaussian splat. Okay, and now we're focusing only on this area. All right, cool. So it is working now. We found the issue. Geez, it took me a while to figure it out. But I guess that's not a Lichfield Studio problem. That is more like reality capture, that it was exporting different resolutions when you don't fix a very particular resolution. That's a bit dumb, honestly. Well, anyway, this is working and it's already looking quite cool. I guess we can sense already that we're going to have some issues on the roof, expected, but around the cabin seems pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to keep this running. I'm going to keep the video recording. I'm not going to pause it, but I might speed things up later. But for now, let's just keep recording this. Seems to be quite fast. So yeah, let's wait for the final result. Okay, so the training has finished. It took only 6 minutes. By the way, in the meantime, I just got a message on Discord that this issue with the mask is going to be resolved soon. So hopefully you don't need to go through that anymore. Okay, so yeah, this is how it looks. So I believe it looks quite nice, given that, you know, these are crappy iPhone images and only like a loop and a half without covering everything here. So obviously this doesn't look good from the top. This is completely expected. But the rest, it looks quite nice, right? Okay, great. Let's check that reflection. There is not much of a reflection. Okay, great, fantastic. So export PLY. Okay, let's export these in my output, and we have it there already anyway, right? That should be the same as this one that we are exporting. Okay, great. So if we go to output, this one and this one should be exactly the same, right? Okay, cool. So let's maybe check it in SuperSplat editor if you want. There is no need, but let's take a look. All right, here we have it. Oh, okay, cool, looking great. And if you want to do some cleanup, feel free to do it here. So I think in my case I'm just going to do something like that. Select, invert, get rid of everything else, and here we have it. Okay, cool. So that is the new Lichfield Studio, progressing very nicely.